what does the latest research tell us about how we can maintain our health and impact the way that we get through this pandemic at this point in terms of how we eat?
Great. Well, Tom, thank you so much for having me here today. We all know that the pandemic has been incredibly disruptive to our routines and habits, including decreasing our physical activity, we're eating more, have increased alcohol intake, increased stress, and a lot of people are reporting increased weight gain. And we know that all of these combined can contribute to not only increasing cancer risk, but also increasing risk of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, and other chronic diseases. So I put a list together today showing our top 10 healthy behaviors for cancer prevention, which could also be called the top 10 healthy lifestyle behaviors during the COVID pandemic to support our overall health and well-being. So I'm just going to go through those with you all now. So the first one is physical activity. And the way that I've really structured these is it's really with a focus on what we should be doing instead of what we shouldn't be doing. In a time of intense stress, it's always better to focus on the positive. So first of all, physical activity. It's really important for everybody to get outside and get moving. Exercise inside if that's what needs to happen. But the recommendations are to engage in at least 150 minutes per week to vigorous physical activity. And doing that in whenever capacity works for people. Find something that you love to do. The next is to eat a diet that's really high in vegetables especially. Our recommendation is to eat 5 to 9 servings per day. And people are always asking me what are my favorite vegetables, and those are the cruciferous vegetables, things like broccoli, kale, cauliflower. These are really packed with phytonutrients. Eating fat is important, but we just need to focus on eating the healthy fats, so including olive oil, nuts, things that are really heavy in the Mediterranean diet pattern, with a strong focus on eating nutrient-dense foods. So not only vegetables, but also whole grains, legumes, beans, fruits, which means if we're eating those, we're eating a lot less of the highly processed junk food. We also think to do this, it's important to manage stress, engage in mind-body practices if that's what works for people to manage stress. Some people can just be physically active and that's enough. But mind-body practices are things like mindfulness-based stress reduction, yoga, meditation, and then getting enough sleep is really important too. A lot of people have disruptive sleep right now. This next one is a little bit trickier to talk about, which is alcohol. So the American Cancer Society came out this past June with recommendations acknowledging that alcohol is a carcinogen and to really limit alcohol to no more than 1 serving per day. And so I think that's important for people to think about. Increased alcohol can also affect mood as well for people. And then as we all know, achieving and maintaining a healthy weight is important. We would recommend not really necessarily focusing on weight loss right now, but just make sure that people aren't gaining weight during the pandemic. Avoiding tobacco products is important, as always, wearing sunscreen to prevent skin cancer. And then we don't recommend the use of dietary supplements for cancer prevention because we don't have data suggesting that it's effective. So that's a lot to do, but those are our general recommendations.